All right. We're going to find out if this thing is going hot. So we're trying to multi-stream here. Let's see. It says, let's see.
Yeah, it seems real. I see it. I see it on my live broadcast, slightly delayed a bit, but yeah, I see it. I don't know if questions from my platform. This is pretty cool.
Hey, we out here nerding out, man. I feel all accomplished.
Yeah.
Let me move my light a little bit.
So, yeah, this is really cool. So, yeah, so retire in Brazil. What am I doing? Retire on Brazil. Retire in Brazil.
Do we have two different names?
Your name is listed. My name is listed. We have two different names for the video, but I guess it's going to show in each of our channels the way that we want it. But now I don't hear your voice. You're muted.
We're getting this going the first time, so we're going to do a few quick experiments. I'm going to post something here in the chat. We're going to find out. I'm going to post a list called All About Brazil, and it's a link. Let's see where it pops up. 3 Ds to success.
Boa noite.
Boa noite, amigo. Do that. Everybody be sure to check out 3D to Success as well. He's got an amazing channel he's got going there.
Awesome.
Peace and love to you too, Aaron. Thanks for showing up. So I think we've accomplished something.
I think so.
So let's do a quick check to see how quickly you hear me. When I say hello, you say hello. Ready? Hello?
Hello.
Okay, the lag isn't as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah. I think it's pretty good. I think it's fresh flowing. When I see it in YouTube, it's delayed by like 30 seconds, which is fine. It's whatever. But I see it's coming through. I see statistics coming in, concurrent viewers. So this is pretty cool.
So when you say concurrent viewers and all that, what are you looking at? Tell me what you see. What are you looking at? Because this is the way you look at your YouTube and the way I look at mine, I think are a little bit different.
Yeah. So like on StreamYard, you're going to have like your combined view. It's going to say that somewhere. On YouTube, there's like a YouTube Studio Live view, which shows me how many concurrent viewers there are, how many playbacks, who's in, who's out. And I guess if people are going to say something, they can.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, well, for me, this is all, this is all, we have different forms of gathering information.
This is fun. So now we know how to collaborate in real time on multiple channels.
Yeah, now that we know how to do this, the process can be repeated over and over.
Absolutely, like all things in life. Awesome, guys. So just for those of you who are tuning in from ENTP Life, it's me again, Carl. Welcome back. Today, me and Yusef are collaborating to talk about something that popped up in his live, I think last week or a few weeks ago, right, where there was a little bit of a debate in his chat where somebody was, you could correct me if I'm incorrect, but where somebody was doubting his ability to retire in Brazil because he needed close to $1 million to make it happen in some way. And I just couldn't understand how he arrived at that number, and started to talk to him from the perspective of it's requires far less money than that. So if that's your dream, then you better rethink it so that you can realize, this retirement goal of yours, rather than putting it off or setting this number so high that it can never happen. And then Yusef and I talked offline and said, hey, you know what? Maybe what we should talk about is how much it really costs to live in Brazil. Can you do it for $1,000 a month? Can you do it for less? Can you do it for more? Right? A lot of people always wonder, what is the arbitrage of the US dollar in Brazil?
Well, let's back up. We just used a big word. Let's give them geo-arbitrage. What geo-arbitrage means? Because he said, what is the arbitrage? Well, geo-arbitrage is, and if we look at the quick definition, it's a simple word. I think Tim Ferriss made it the most popular. He said it moving somewhere to lower your cost of living while earning currency that is from a higher exchange rate. For example, I lived in Thailand and before that I lived in China, but let's say I'm living in Brazil, but my clients pay me in Bitcoin. Expanse EK24. Like how I segued into that, right? My clients pay me in Bitcoin. They pay me in British pound sterling. They pay me in dollars. It's not a matter, and when people in the cryptocurrency world, what we need to stop saying, especially for a lot of new people, we don't want to look at countries as being cryptocurrency friendly. People are cryptocurrency friendly. If anything, cryptocurrency is the one thing you want to keep away from the country and the government. Do I do business in Bitcoin? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I'm in the Bitcoin altcoins, and we can have some more conversation about that. I've been asked to do a few more 101 introductions. And so living in Brazil, I'm going to give you guys an quick screen share on the exchange rate. Now, I want to be clear. The exchange rate does not equal purchasing power. Okay. Right now, $1 US is worth, well, here, I put in 1,000, excuse me. First, we're going to go $1 US is worth $5.72 Brazilian real. Okay, so that means if you got $1,000 in US dollars per month, and I tell my clients, and for people who don't know, I run an expat relocation services business, meaning I help people come to Brazil legally, get their paperwork done, do the things necessary to be in the country long term, if not permanent residency. That's what I do. I tell my clients I would prefer them to have $1,200 a month USD for some extra cushion. But right now, we're going to go on and say, what do you get for 5,717 Brazilian real per month? And for those who don't know, I'm going to pop this into the share. Let's see. This is me on LinkedIn. If anybody has any questions about who I am professionally, I always say, add me on LinkedIn. And that is where you can see who I am professionally. You can not just look at my resume. Resumes are clever, don't get me wrong. I give everybody the same spiel. This is what I do, and you can see all the visa, blah, blah, blah. But I always tell people to scroll down to this part. This is the most important part, in my opinion. Down here, we're going to have the part where it says recommendations. This is where other businessmen under their real names say, this is a guy named Yusef Wateef, and he knows what he's doing. He legitimately has the business acumen to get things done that he advertises. He's as advertised. So let's see. Do we have anybody? Let's see. Oh, I plan to retire off stacking my crypto. It's possible if you got the right plan. And dude, okay, rule number one, don't go saying shit like that in public. Let's not tell people how much we have, where we have it. All you need to look. Can I segue, Carl? I don't mean to go off on a rant. We just had a spate of travelers talking about how much they had and where they had it and being flashy about it online, getting robbed. You can Google it. It's a thing.
Yeah.
So I made the live. Oi.
Oi.
And so add me on LinkedIn. So where are we going with this? We got what, 5,700 Brazilian real. Is that what we said we're playing with, Carl?
Yep. 5,700 reais.
I tell my clients, listen,
I got a couple comments on my end, so I'll tune in.
Can you pop them on the screen?
Huh?
Can you pop them on the screen? Can you share them?
I don't think so.
If you look at
it doesn't pop up on your screen. It pops up on my live end.
Huh? How do we get those up?
Yeah, I would have to be feeding or connected in a different way, like the API version that you. Like not the API, but however you log in on StreamYard, when it says connect my Facebook, my whatever, I'd have to be connected that way to get the comments up. But as the comments come in, I'll just address them and kind of read them out loud. And that way we could at least address any questions that come in from my subscriber base. But welcome, guys. Thank you guys for joining us. You know, the segment that Yusef and I did back in Sao Paulo is forever trending video on my channel. Seems that people who are interested in relocating to Brazil really liked that conversation. It was real. It gave clear perspective in what to expect from a social perspective in Brazil and how people think when relocating from the US to Brazil. But one of the things that we didn't really dig deep into was the financial component. And I constantly tell people that in most of the South American countries, $1,000 is all you need. So we're going to be sitting here and kind of having this discussion, improving that today so that we could see how far 1,000 US dollars takes you in Brazil. And can you actually retire on that amount if you're a single person, if you're a couple, or if you're a family? Let's see how far it goes.
So what is the first thing we would think about if I'm living? Now, I want some people watching to get, let's see. Oh, yeah. A month? Yeah. Yes, absolutely. By far and away. You know, one of the biggest problems I have with a lot of the guys who come to me and they say, I'm coming to Brazil, I've got my residual income coming, or I'm doing something online that pays me. Now, when you break down $1,000 even further, we're talking about paying, if you're earning 250 US dollars free and clear a week, in the United States, you would be sleeping under a bridge, fighting a homeless person for a nasty blanket. Here, just to give people some perspective, Carl, I don't know if I've shown you this. There is something that was given to me that was true in 2013, and it's true here today. I want to see if you can, let's see. If you want to open up on this.
Hey, Yusef, I'm gonna just take the show from here. I just got to jump on this call because it's my business partner who has an incident with the police that I just need to talk to him
about.
Dude,
hey, you don't have to go into detail. I don't want to know anything I have to testify about, so stop talking. Turn off your camera. Turn off the recording. Hit stop camera and stop mute so we don't hear you. Hit mute and stop camera. We don't want to hear the detail. Thank you. Thank you. Man, I'm out here trying to keep people from getting jammed up in the system. Mess around and talk about something that happened with the police live on air. We don't want that with anybody, but let's do this. So here we had Mr. West said, 1,500 a month and you're good. Let me give you guys some perspective. You see that chart? That's in Brazilian real. That means 1,000 US dollars means it's 5,800 Brazilian real. So if you're making 5,000 US dollars, 1,000 US dollars per month, bring it into Brazil, you are automatically in the top 10% of earners. Let me say that again. You're in the top 10% of earners. Brother Craig, he knows the deal. He's experiencing Brazil. He lives in Brazil. He will tell you the truth. I hope some of you go back and look at Craig and I. We've done some videos together. He's got a lot of stuff juggling. Everyone congratulate him. He's a new father. That's why he hasn't been around as much. You say, what? So yeah, to go back to that. So now let's take somebody who's making more than 1,500 a month. I have clients that come out here with their revenue stream all put together. And one of the problems that I have is I have to sit down and I'm going to say specifically with men, a man can get himself into a lot of trouble with money and time and not a reasonable way to spend either one. I always suggest, whether or not you want to, whether or not you need it, if you're in a position where you're in Brazil, you're making enough money to live a very nice life, you need to have something to do. I suggest men start businesses, go back to university. I don't really care what it is, but you can't put yourself in a situation where you're just sitting around Brazil with your money coming in and you're just staring at the sun and the sand. I've seen guys jam their lives up that way. You know, we need something difficult to do. So create something or I'll help you. Carl, I don't know if you saw this. Did you see what they said about us?
No. Oh man, that's dope. Yeah, I think we do. We kind of talk from the same perspective in a way, when in our own ways. I think it is a good pair.
Hey, that's all for you, Craig. Congrats on the new team member you just brought into the world. Angie from Rio de Janeiro. Boa noite, querida. So where you at? Where you at, Carl? I will
Right
just give
here,
them the
David.
breakdown that 5,000 puts them in the top 10. If they're making 1,000 US per month, that gives them 5,800 Brazilian reais, which puts them in the top 10% of earners in this country.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what that gets you, right? So I did a segment where I went through Rio de Janeiro, the Copacabana area, checked out some apartments there, checked out Airbnb apartments, also put up some listings for just vacant apartments, asked people what they were paying for their rent. And I found that in Rio de Janeiro, like in the Copacabana region, you could go from anywhere from about $400 to about $900 for apartments that are fit like in favorable areas like Barra da Tijuca, Leblon, Ipanema, for like a studio to 1-bedroom sort of apartment. Then I went out into Cabo Frio and into Búzios, looking at apartments and houses that were for rent and for sale. And over there, you could pick up an apartment in Cabo Frio, nice 2-bedroom modern building for like $200 to $600 a month. And then in Búzios, just outside of Búzios, there was a 2-bedroom house renting for $220 a month. And it was newly constructed, need full furnishing, but it gets to that price. Now, if you were to just adjust your standards and what you would want, there's a lot of flexibility and room in those prices, right? So just to wrap that up, you could get housing for as low as $220 a month. And then obviously the ceiling goes up in any city, any country. But from $200 to $600, you're living pretty nicely. How much are you paying for your rent, and what does that get you, Yusef?
You know what? I'm going to pull up a video. Let's see. Let me come back to this on a food bill and $100 US. But let me see. Do we have comparative data on different cities? Yes. Matter of fact, let's do this. I'm going to give you data on São Paulo, Brazil. Why do I want to give you data on São Paulo, Brazil specifically? São Paulo, Brazil is the most expensive city in Latin America. Like, I'm showing you prices that if you were here in Brazil and you say, I can afford to live where Yusef Wateef lives, you can live any place else in this country for a ton less rather. Why? São Paulo this is the money area. This is where the education of the money is. I'm a businessman. I've got a couple of things going out here. So for me, São Paulo makes sense to live in. So let me show you guys. Let's see, where is it? I'm gonna give you guys a little silent tour video I took of my apartment. Now, I'm gonna show you my apartment, and let's see. There you go, Ian. Ian gets it. If Rio is so inexpensive by U.S. standards, imagine what this money would buy him in Manaus. And I'm in Sao Paulo, so I'm giving you even bigger prices. Brazil has so many beautiful places. There are places that I want to go when I hang up my guns. What that means is when I'm done hustling and bustling and I want to do maybe I want to be that old guy that walks out every morning in a white suit, sitting down, having coffee, telling kids what it was like when I was their age, telling them crazy stories about traveling the world and running with bulls in Spain. I want to go to a place like Salvador. Maybe I want to go to a place where there's more trees than people. So I'm going to show you, Carl. You asked, what is my place like and what does it get me, right? So Let's take a stroll. I have a bachelor pad. I have a man cave. Look, it's just me. So it's got a simple bathroom. Simple kitchen. Stove, cups, blah, blah, blah.
And how much is this, you said?
Now, hold on. I want to take a survey when we get done. I just want to get some guesses on what this runs me. Everybody can tell me what city they're in, and they can tell me what that would run them in their city, Looking at that video, Reigning Woman, what do you think something like that would cost? Let's see. To put that in perspective, the rent on my apartment here in Brooklyn is $2,800. From what you're saying, I live like, yes, you would. James Dudley King doesn't even describe I think we would have to move up to Sue's reign. So We got one bid. He said that's $750 USD in Phoenix, Arizona. In Denver, that's $1,900. He says he thinks it's about $400. Y'all ready? You ready? I pay, well, hold on. Matter of fact, let me give you today's translation. That way we're all, let's see, in Houston, that would run you easily 700. Let's see.
Angie says 650 reais. I got another person that said $400 a week in Melbourne, Australia.
Gee, a week? That's pain.
Yeah. 800 to 1,000 in Fort Lauderdale, which, yeah, I would say is about right because I'm here as well. 2,400 in East New York. Isn't that crazy? Freaking East New York, $2,400 for a studio.
Okay, first I have to lay something to rest. Let's not get crazy. Let's not get crazy. I'm a long way from Kai Green. I appreciate the compliment on my COVID muscles, as I call it, because I've been using my kettlebell. I know for certain I haven't gotten fat, but I've lost my swole because I haven't been in the gym just throwing heavy weight. But that's okay. Mm-hmm. So let me show you guys exactly how much I pay for this apartment per month. And some of y'all are going to get mad. Some people are going to get mad when they see this.
Let's see what it is. $244.85. Oh, man. Yeah, that's pretty cheap. $60 a week. Wow.
So let me tell you guys how I actually took her down from 300 US a week. I came in, and this is a tactic that some of your business people can use. You know what I'm going to say. So I looked at the apartment, and my apartment, for perspective, it's less than 15 minutes away from Avenida Paulista, which is this historic street in São Paulo, Brazil. Mm-hmm. It's the street where when you go to São Paulo, people shoot professional videos on the street. This is the kind of place where when traffic stops, models go out with their photographers to get a picture of themselves on the street. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so my apartment is 15 minutes away. I said, listen, I totally understand you want 300 US a month for this place. But what if I just paid you 6 months up front? Could we get the price down? And at the time, with the exchange rate, it was $250 US. I said, can we do this? Can we break that price down to 250 US instead of 300? And because here's the thing, do I know I'm paying a little bit of a gringo price? Yes. Am I mad? No. The game has been good to me. We're making money off this economy. I'm here to make a lot, but I'm not trying to be greedy, if you know what I'm saying. So she looked at me and she wanted to argue. So I reached into my backpack, and this is where, it gets kind of grimy. I reached into my backpack and I had rubber band up six $250 bundles. And I said, listen, somebody's about to get this money. I want it to be you. I want it to be you. If it's not, that's cool. I understand, but I want it to be you. And she started sweating and she just touched the money. And once she touched the money, it was. Mr. West says, furnished? No, not furnished.
What did you, and just for the record, that's a good question that he's asking, because what we considered furnished in the States versus furnished there is also two different things, right? Some apartments come without a fridge, come without a stove, and those are things that are considered furnishing. Unlike in the States, where typically when you get an apartment, your apartment is going to come with a stove and a fridge and appliances. Did yours come furnished in that regard, where the fridge and stove were there, or you had to provide your own?
No, I just jumped online and grabbed myself a fridge and a stove. And, every building has a handyman. I just gave the handyman like a 10, and he was like, whatever you need. So I, no.
So just so people could kind of set their expectations, there may be times where you're in Brazil or in other South American countries where, it might be a surprise to you that the apartment doesn't come with a stove or a fridge. So be prepared to take on that cost when you're moving into a new place that doesn't have an appliance included.
Raining woman, I could move to Brazil and rent out my house. Yes, that's what all my other clients are doing. When are you going to call me? I had a good question, and he said, "Are you in a favela?" I think he means favela. And you know what? I'm gonna have to give myself a close up on this one. But the pearls, no. I didn't grow up in poverty. I don't live in poverty in other countries. Why would I go live in a favela?
Yeah, it's a funny question. So I had a question that came over on my channel that I want to just bring up so we could touch on it at some later point. But I get these questions a lot, obviously, because I'm Black and I am American. So
the way you said that was so funny.
The question that comes up is, do you feel treated better overall as a Black man in Brazil compared to the United States? The answer is yes. And I could explain that in greater detail later on when we talk about the social pieces. I kind of want to stay on target with the costs, right? So out of this $1,000, right, this budget that we're working with, you get a studio apartment.
We can't wait. Hold on. There are 44 people watching right now on my end. How many people are watching on your end?
On my end, 21.
Okay, so that's about 60 something people.
Yeah.
Everybody watching needs to like, share, and subscribe. And I don't just mean to my channel. Go to this channel, ENTP Life, and go like, share, and go subscribe there too. Subscribe to his channel if you're not on his and you're coming from mine. Subscribe to mine if you're coming from his. Like, do that now. This is why we get to give you guys information like this. Brother Craig, yes, I almost forgot about that. He said you got to buy your own toilet seats. Now, my question is, if you had an apartment and it came with a toilet seat, wouldn't you buy another one anyway? Wouldn't you just... I can't see how you would even... I mean, I'm glad that the people who lived here before me took it. That I wouldn't want theirs. Yeah, that's not he said I gave her an offer she couldn't afford to say no. We had another great question. After 6 months, will the price remain the same on a negotiation like that? I negotiated for life. When I handed her that money, it was like getting jumped into a gang. It's no way out. Once she took that money. But here's the thing, right? This is why it's good for her. She said part of the deal is this. Anything that goes wrong in the apartment, you have to pay for. I have a handyman that I can give $10 US. He will fix, repair, install, uninstall, anything. He's the person that came to me. I have one of those stoves. When I bought it, I just bought the stove for the apartment. And I didn't know it was the kind where you hold it, goes click, 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 and then you have to press the button. He was like, oh, no, let me show you something. He opens the stove, goes under, clicks something around. He goes, now I'm doing it. Just boom, turns on. I didn't know you could do that. He was like, I'm your friend. Which,
yeah. Cool. So, all right. So we got our $1,000 budget, and you're already earmarked $240 for your studio apartment. And I threw out some other numbers for more space. But since you're a single dude living in Brazil, living in Sao Paulo, which is the more expensive city, then compared to Rio de Janeiro, we've got 25% of that budget just about cut. How much do your utilities hit for? Internet, electricity, water, if you have to pay for that.
I do not have to pay for water. Let me give you guys my, let's see. Okay. Hold on a second. So I'm going to give you guys my, let's see, my electric bill. We'll start there. That's my electric bill. That's 84 Brazilian reais.
For what period? For a month?
Yeah. Now keep in mind, this is during quarantine when I've been in the house all the time. Okay.
Do you pay more for electricity because of your neighborhood? Like, is it because in Colombia it's your utilities are skewed to that's 84 reais?
Yeah. What did you think I meant?
I thought that was dollars, bro.
No, that's 15 US dollars.
15 bucks for electricity. Gotcha. But damn. So what I was going to say was in Colombia, based on the class of neighborhood you're in, they there's a sliding scale for how much you pay in utilities. If you're in the upper class neighborhood, you pay a little more for utilities. If you're in a lower class neighborhood, they adjust it so that it's fair. Do they do the same in Brazil?
Not to my knowledge. Oh, you know what? I want to do two things real quick. One, when people asked me about my neighborhood, so that they understand where I'm living. I live 15 minutes away from here. This is Avenida Paulista, which is one of the historic, whenever you come to Brazil, this is a place they go. This is me and my friends sitting on the street, eating, drinking coffee, hanging out on a regular, just Saturday, doing stuff. That's it. That's where I live. Now, we also had another quick question on food and healthy food. So I'm going to give you guys 2 quick jumps on food. One, for the record, I don't know if any of you guys know, I also run Black Expats in Brazil. It's a great organization for just Black expats in Brazil. And I'll put the link up here as well.
I met somebody who benefited from that service by the name of Jeremy from Barbados.
Brother Jeremy from Barbados.
Yeah.
He's an economist.
What's up?
He's an economist, and he comes on sometimes, and I explain to him why he's wrong about everything concerning Bitcoin. But he's an educated university professor-level economist. And pilot. And then we have to, and he's a pilot. Shout out to Brother Jeremy. He has a pilot's license now. And then I just have to explain to him that you're wrong. I don't care what you think, you're wrong. So you asked about health and food. Every now and then I do videos from other places, and this is at one of my local juice bars. I can have, for $3, I can get a fresh fruit juice giant blend with everything I want in it, and coconut milk or coconut water, and drink that. I mean, I live in a place where, I posted this. Can you guys see this little video? This is an average shopping haul from me. I don't know if you guys can see that. Bag of beef, bag of chicken. That bag of beef has 23 reais written on it, and the bag of chicken has 29 reais written on it. And you're looking at about 2 pounds of beef and about 6 pounds of chicken. So you're looking at about $15 US there for the beef and the chicken. Let's say we go out. Carl, did I take you to this restaurant? We didn't go to this restaurant, did we?
We went to a Mexican joint.
We got to go to this place. This is something called vaca atolada. It's a beef dish. It is so good. You, me, and our friends, we can all take everybody out, and it's not going to cost very much, especially at that place. I feel like I'm robbing them. This is my Sunday market. This is the market where I buy all my fresh fruits, vegetables, beef, giant pieces of salmon. The lady on the left, I call her my spice girl because
it's not showing the video.
What? It's not?
It's not sharing what you're discussing.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Let's see if does this work? Is that better?
No, still presents the same.
How about now?
Nope.
Well, I'll be darned.
Yeah. Technology. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. There you go.
There we go. So that's my market. I can take, I don't know, if I take $30 there, I'm going to walk away with more food than I'm going to eat in a week. Seriously. This is a really nice mid-scale fish restaurant. We can go there and eat. Let's say we both eat, I don't know, 100 real worth of food. I can take you there for $20. I should start doing a 2 for 20 Brazil. Imagine going 2 for 20 in a place like this, where you got fresh grilled fish.
It's crazy.
That's crazy, right?
So how much are you saying you're doing about 120 a month in food?
If I'm only eating food that I have cooked, Easily. Yeah, less than that probably. If I'm going out to eat, honestly, this is the thing about when you're when you're a single person, a single guy, it can often, this is one of the things you have to be careful with your health. It can often be more expensive to cook than it is to go out. Because cooking for one all the time and everything, you see this right here? This is called a churrasco. This is not even a special place. This is across the street from my house. I can have an all-you-can-eat meal, and that's just the meat. That doesn't show all the beef and the sides that they have. That's like, I think, I want to say $4 US.
I've seen some spots like that for like 16, 18 reais, 20
and
reais.
if you're going to a place like that, yeah, 16, 18 reais, that's totally, yeah, that's about $5 US. Yeah. That's exactly it. So let's say we are, if we're going to stay on this food thing for a second, let's say we are buying all our groceries. What you're looking at now, you're looking at, let me see, you're looking at less than 100 real. And quite frankly, there's one thing in there that's disproportionately expensive. You see that Dijon mustard? That mustard,
that drove the price.
Mustard, honestly, it cost probably 10 reais. The bag of beef, the 2-pound bag of beef next to it cost 20 something. That jar of Dijon mustard, because I try to, I don't like to use a lot of mayonnaise, so I'll use avocado spread and things like that. That's it. Like you're looking at, let me think, 20, 100. You're probably looking at $30 worth of food there, US dollars, less. And that's 2 pounds of beef and 6 pounds of chicken, 6 fresh avocados, broccoli, cauliflower, a big jumble of bananas, a big jumble of sweet potatoes, bread. I think I got some kimchi in there, and my food scale, because when I'm on the grind, when I'm really trying to get back to that, I'm trying to look just hard and nasty and big, I weigh out my food.
Gotcha. So you're thinking $120 or so a month for household groceries, right? And that's you as a weightlifter, you eating what you would consider to be fairly well. That would be like that you stocking your fridge $120 a month. In addition to that 120, how much do you think you spend out in a regular course of life? Not just trying to be cheap, but if you're just eating out, dates, whatever it is that however you're spending food outside, or spending money on food outside, how much more would you factor into your budget there?
Okay, first let me do one thing. JM, will you quit calling me Mr. Yusef? Yusef is fine. Yusef is fine. Okay, well, let's do this. We have something here, like you have different phone companies, just like in the United States. Here we have Vivo, which is my favorite phone company. They're the purple and white. My clients know that when they come to Brazil, Vivo is who I hook them up with. Well, they have a program here called Vivo Valoriza. Okay, Vivo Valoriza means if you use Vivo as your phone company, when you go to the movies or to other places, they give you a discount. So I'm going to show you the Vivo Valoriza São Paulo, Brazil. And you asked specifically about the movies. Come on, where is it? There. These are all the different places you can go, but I'm looking for the movie one. They don't have it here. In any case, what I'm getting at is it's 50% off movies.
If you have their cell phone plan.
Yes. Now, I'm looking up the price of a movie because, let's see, cinema, ticket, Sao Paulo, just to give you a reasonable number. The cost for one ticket to the movies, and by the way, Brazil is a civilized country. You know what that means? That means when you buy your ticket, I don't care if you buy it online or if you buy it on, when you go there, they have a screen and you pick your seat. That way there are no problems.
All theaters.
In the US, they're doing that now?
Yeah.
Really? Nice. So the average cost of a movie ticket is $8.
$8 US bucks.
Yes.
That's fairly high considering. I guess the
$8
price,
for a movie ticket is high.
yeah, compared to
That's
like what somebody may be earning a month, right? Like a low earner.
Wait.
that-
Maybe we're talking about two different things.
Yeah,
$8 to go see the Avengers on opening night is
Mhm.
expensive in the United States or in Brazil.
in Brazil.
Okay, now I understand what you're saying, because $8 here is about 45
40.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now consider this. You asked about if you're going on a date with a girl or something like that. Let me give you guys some game. So let's say you got Vivo Real. You got this thing on your phone. Ordinarily, you're paying $16 for a movie ticket. Now you're paying only $8 for 2 tickets. You can go to the movies every day if you want to. Every new movie that comes out, you can just afford to see it. Buy one, get one free all day till your eyes fall out of your face.
Angie says she prefers Vivo too.
You said you'd be running AC all day, every day. You wouldn't need AC in Sao Paulo. It's not even, you don't even have AC any place that's not like a business office. You don't even have AC in your house because it's such a temperate place. You don't need AC.
Yeah, I never felt, anytime that I spent in Sao Paulo, I never felt like I was burning, to be quite honest. The last time I was there was in October. And yeah, it was pretty mild out.
Now, you asked if I use public transportation. I could. The problem is with Uber and the US conversion rate, the taxi, I mean, the bus is something like 4 real, which people are going to riot if they raise that again. You know, I can go from here to the downtown movies for $4.
It becomes
In an Uber by myself, hanging out. You don't take public transportation when you can. Now, here's the only time it might be better to take a bus. Let's say you're going to do a business meeting downtown in one of the office districts at 7 o'clock in the morning and the traffic is heavy. You might want to pay for an actual taxi, which is about 20-30% more expensive, or an actual bus or subway, because buses in Sao Paulo have a dedicated line. That means cars can't drive in their lanes.
And it's quicker. I got a question that came up on my feed that was related to something that I think might be up your alley. J. Robert Simmons, he's like, can you guys set up a tour for people so that they could check out, I guess, Brazil and kind of from the expat perspective? Because he thinks that would be helpful for viewers. So I know when we did our video, we did a light overview of Sao Paulo, but I guess if you ever had the chance, he's saying that it might be helpful to either set up tours or to do a actual tour in a video of maybe the day, the feel, where you're at, how much it costs, that sort of thing.
Well, the answer is we can do that. Yeah. So there's the Black Expats in Brazil Facebook group. People who want to join. Okay. Can't see it. Hold on. What can you not see?
Maybe the question from can't see your screen. Maybe she's delayed.
Maybe there was a delay because I'm checking on another screen. It looks like
I see you.
Huh. I lived in Bangkok, Thailand for a while, so I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. Almost free. So what does a plan cost on Vivo?
I think my plan is $30 for as much as everything possible.
So that's good internet speeds, unlimited usage, that sort of thing. $1 a day.
Yeah.
And it's like SIM card driven?
Yes.
Gotcha. So like one of the things I always noticed about the South American countries is like the cell phone prices are just outrageously priced compared to what they are. So are you shopping for cell phones internally, or do you kind of import your own stuff from the States?
Now,
when
there's
you
one
deal
thing
with
about
electronics?
this country. One thing about this country that we have to remember is that the cost of electronics is disproportionately high. They charge so much money for any electronics that you want to come in with your own. I tell my clients when they're coming to Brazil and they're looking at my company to help them relocate here to live here, I tell them this. I say, treat yourself to a new computer and a new phone. And if I may be so bold, I always suggest people get Android phones because you can dual chip. Some people love their Apple. I love Apple computers. I don't like Apple phones.
Because of the restrictions. And I'm glad that you're touching on that, because, that's something that I would overlook to tell somebody. Be considerate about that. If you want to get the latest computer, because you're not going to be traveling that often, you might be paying half the price for computers in the United States as you are somewhere else. Like my buddy who runs his business in Venezuela, when he comes to the States, he buys his laptops here because for a brand new, fairly good quality laptop, he would get like a used i3 in Venezuela. So he's like, it makes more sense for him to stock up on those sort of electronics while he's there. So, and that's because they tax the hell out of the imported goods, and that's how they're making their money. But, that's definitely a good piece of advice that you give your clients. Get a new cell phone, get a new computer before you make your way on down.
So J.M. Ramiro said something interesting, especially considering a lot of people don't want to leave home. Do they have courier services to pay someone to buy your groceries? Courier service, they have apps. Every supermarket has their own app. Uber has a food buying app. You just go on, tell them what you want and how much you want. You can. Who was that eccentric guy? Was it Howard? Who was the guy in Las Vegas that lived his last few years locked in a hotel room by himself?
I don't know his name.
Use something. In any case, I can live in my apartment with my high-speed internet, run business here, do my banking from here, have all my groceries delivered, have any snacks I want delivered. Yeah. No, I wouldn't even shop at Sam's Club why would I do that when I can go to a market where the chicken was probably alive yesterday?
Yeah. Yeah. Completely different way of living. Like you're going to come across fresher produce all the time, right? Because there's the street markets, there's the indoor markets. You get what you want, and it's very much like a European tradition, right? You go to Spain, Portugal, it's the same way. They're accustomed to getting their ingredients a little fresher for what they want to make. It's even part of like your day to go pick up some bread in the morning time. You're not going to buy bread for the entire week. You might want a fresh loaf of bread this morning. So you're not looking at bulk discounts. That's not even a thing, I would say, down there.
Now, watch this. You just touched on something that triggered my brain.
Happy.
The refrigerators here are not as big as the refrigerators in the United States. Your average family refrigerator is smaller, even for more people. Why? Because they go shopping every 2 or 3 days, because they're not buying food that's jammed full of, as many preservatives as going to stay for 9 days. You buy your some chicken on Saturday for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, maybe Tuesday. You go buy some beef for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Craig, I don't know what movie theater you're at, but yeah, I don't know what theater you're at, but where I'm at, I don't think they are letting that happen, because I wouldn't even try it, because they make their money off of those. They make their money off of those things.
I got one comment that says that if you live outside of the big cities, Bahia, Nordeste, Santa Catarina, you're talking about $1,500 a month for a whole family, right? So even the numbers that Yusef were given, it's inflated for the big city.
Yeah. Now watch this. He says a family. When we say a family, we're thinking about minimum 5 people. When they say a family, because they're thinking mom, dad, and 3 kids. West had a question. He says, what about vehicles? Buy a car or hire a driver? Neither. Get an Uber all the time.
Yes, because the cost of labor is so cheap. So you have to factor that. It's almost negligible to have these service personnel, right? Because they're not keeping up with a $20, $30 an hour salary. Like it's really cheap to just Uber yourself around South America. Like it's insanely cheap.
So
And it's
yeah,
still good income for the people. So somebody who's driving an Uber is actually making probably above definitely above the minimum. It's a fairly decent living for them to have.
Yeah. Ian said something interesting. He said there's lots of produce that we never have in the States. Do you know, until I moved to Brazil, I didn't know that there was like other kinds of bananas. I went to the market and there was 3. Remember when you were in grade school and they have those big fold-up tables that you would do your art projects on? There was 3 tables long and about 15 different words that all ended in banana. And they were all totally different. I was like, what? Wait, there's more than one kind of banana?
It's just not Chiquita.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah, man.
Cyrus asked a great question, and it's in relation to something that we talked about not too long ago on our Patreon. For those who don't know, I have a Patreon page, and our Patreon is where we do a lot of business talk. The Patreon page is a lot less fun than our page here that we have for YouTube. The Patreon group is where we talk more business. We talk about how to get certain things done. We talk about different ways to do things financially, including buying land abroad. I'll also put here, for anyone who doesn't know, this is the Patreon group. I'm not going to go through the self-masturbatory task of reading everything that's here. What I will do is say, join the Patreon. Less fun, more money, and business.
We should probably do a collaboration on like how to afford it, right? Like addressing that dude's question of how do you make a living either in the United States through investments to pay for your life in Brazil, or how do you actually land the appropriate work in Brazil to live a decent lifestyle? Because right now, I just ran a tally real quick. So far, your basic living expenses are only $405 a month. That includes your housing, your electricity, your food for the house, and your cell phone. $405. So that means that we still got $595 of play money that is just disposable at this point, which
yes,
very much so proves the point that $1,000 is doable. But how does somebody turn around and pick up from the United States and go to Brazil and not have to kind of worry about that, right? So the goal of retirement, or retirement itself, is not having to trade your time per se for dollars. So how do you see people earning in Brazil from the States in US dollars in that stable currency?
So I put this there. We had a few people asking about buying land in Brazil. There you go. That link, we talked a little bit about buying land. We've got more coming up. Part of what my company does is, in a bit of self-promotion, I have clients who are from the US who want to do business in Brazil, but they don't want them to know that they're dealing with a gringo. So they hire my company, and my staff, who are all bilingual Brazilians, will call and do the upfronts and then say, okay, here's the person I'm representing. So there we go. You just missed it. You just missed it. We just talked about how the price of food here is extraordinarily affordable, especially for fresh food, fresh vegetables, fresh meat, much lower, rock bottom. And as one person said, let's see, what did he say? Where'd he go? We just had a comment about being able to go to the gym, come home, and then just eat a bunch of protein that cost you almost nothing. And by the way, I missed this one, and I want to make sure no, I haven't taken any helicopter rides. No helicopter rides for me yet. Yes. Yep. Matter of fact, part of what I'm coming out with, I'm coming out with some more informationals on specifically how you can maintain a U.S. phone number while you're abroad. And as far as that person that lived in his apartment for the last few years of his life, when they were asking, can I have food delivered here? And I said, you can have anything delivered to your home. We got a bunch of people who made it a point to say it was Howard Hughes. So you could live like Howard Hughes, meaning I have apps on my phone. I can have everything I want delivered, from weights for my home gym to a new lamp for doing this to mats that I have when I do my kettlebell exercises to food to, I mean, just everything.
Yeah. Another person says, if you earn in USD and live in Brazil, you'll be a king or queen. And the language barrier is about 6 months or less to get you up to speed.
Med need knowledge always showing up. Thank you. Hey, don't worry. You can always come back and start from the beginning. And, you know, I have to disagree. Rating woman is already high value. and Jay Davis, no. I don't see it as high. The only thing I would think is if you're coming during Carnival, you might want to, you don't want to start renting an apartment during Carnival or right before Carnival, because yeah, people are going to jack that up because they think you're just going to take it for a little while and go.
And a clarified question, is she saying our summer or their summer?
Oh, that's a good question, because a lot of people don't realize that we're on the other side of the equator, meaning you guys are going into summer, right? We are going into, we're in late fall.
So you want to account for that and make sure that if you want summer-like weather, that you pick the right summer months, because is it going to be their summer or our summer?
Hey, brother Carl, you just left a question, but I'm not quite sure. Can you go back to that question? I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you. You said something right when I was answering another question.
I'm not sure. I think I was talking about summer months, but was there something else?
No. What I will do is show that that's my personal Patreon, but what a lot of people don't know is that the Black Expats Brazil also has a Patreon. I'm sorry, Instagram. Black Expats in Brazil. There is a Black Expat, and by the way, the link to this is also in the description. Okay, the link to this is also in the description. We have a web page that's up.
Okay. Suma Nulu asks this question, Yusef, and neither of us are women, so it's going to be hard to potentially answer from our perspective. But she asks, I like the idea of Brazil, but what is crime like there for a woman? And what should her
I will
concern
tell you
be?
that crime in Brazil is just like, let me do this. Hold on. I'm going to give you guys a video that I did that specifically touched on this. Because when people talk about coming to Brazil, they're going to trust, by the way, they're going to trust the same television that told you Carl and I, our hobbies include beating, looting, maiming, and raping white women. You're going to trust them to give you information on a country where you can't even verify the information, but that's okay. That's okay. So here's what I will tell you. Crime in Sao Paulo, Brazil, which is, I think, the 4th largest city in the world, it's just like crime in New York City, Los Angeles, downtown London. A lot of people think that they should be able to leave their home country and act like a complete idiot wherever else they go. That's just not the truth. It's just not the truth. The things that you wouldn't do in the United States, like, do I like to walk home from the subway at night? You know, no, I don't, because I live in a metropolitan area in a major city. No, I don't.
Easily get got. You'd easily get got.
That's just not a smart thing. And so people will say, I saw a video, and in Brazil, there were these bad people doing bad things. See that? See this video? Here, I'm going to put the link in there, and I want everybody to go right ahead and watch it. Violence and danger where you are. Talk about Brazil. Because apparently some people don't understand that it's not the country, it's if you're living in one of those crazy big cities, you got to take precautions.
Yeah, and is typically going to be petty crime. I covered this, I interviewed somebody from Colombia who said the same thing. Is like, you're just not going to just do stupid things like walk around with your cell phone in your back pocket, be out at night in strange places by yourself, not speaking the language. Like, you're going to make yourself a target if you're not in the best neighborhood, acting like a foreigner, flaunting, what would cost somebody 3 months of a minimum wage salary in Brazil. You're just not going to do something like that, right? It doesn't make sense in Brazil or any other country. So, just apply the same logic that you would apply in your own neighborhood. In safer parts of town, you have more flexibility. In the shadier parts of town, you just flat out avoid them at all costs, right? There's no any American hood. You just don't go there unless you're required to go there, right? You would avoid those neighborhoods. It's the same sort of practice in Brazil. If you're in a nice area, you almost even get insulated from crime, and you're almost in a bubble, just like in the States. You could have people who just don't see the poverty in New York, or who don't see the poverty down here in Fort Lauderdale. So you could create a world like that if you want to.
So the question was by Robert Jackson, if I couldn't live in Sao Paulo, like I said, when I hang up my guns, it'll probably be Salvador, by the water, nice and warm. I'll be an old guy. So, 30 years from now, when I'm ready to, take that walk up north, when I'm just going to spend my days reading the books I didn't have time to read, writing the books I didn't have time to write, it'll probably be Salvador. Sit back, just listen to the ocean, that kind of thing. So.
Personally, I've only been to Sao Paulo and Rio, so I haven't seen more of Brazil to kind of put my stamp anywhere. I'm buying a property. I haven't announced this on my channel. Maybe I don't know. I'm buying a property in Cabo Frio, which is in the state of Rio de Janeiro. But I'm not exactly sure where else I would buy and where else I would live. But other than Salvador, where else do you see yourself kind of spending your days?
I don't know.
What other cities have you been to in Brazil?
I've been to Florianopolis, which people say Floripa. I've been to, we said Salvador, Rio de Janeiro. Where else? Where else have I been to hang out? Foz de Iguazu. In Paraná. Where else?
Have you been to Minas?
Vitoria. So now, by the way, those are we have to do toll videos on those places. Mr. West says, what about weapons? I've never seen a weapon in Brazil that wasn't being held by a police officer. Not that makes it any better. Gun laws in Brazil. And then he said, gun laws in Brazil. I don't know the gun laws in Brazil. In the United States, I've had guns, legal gun owner, but in Brazil, you know what this is really going to lead into, Carl? I don't know if we've had this conversation. Here's the difference. When we talk about violence in different countries, let's just say that Brazil and the United States both had a gazillion deaths a year. In the United States, that gazillion deaths is going to be spread out among people in schools, people in shopping centers, people walking down the street, people buying watermelons on their way home from the game. In most other countries, the people who get killed are people who live, unfortunately, in a combination of two things. One, in very low-income neighborhoods that are ridden with crime. You don't have the violence that in the United States, we are so used to violence that we forget that there could be places where that's not normal. Like I was talking to someone today about how we just started another 3-day run of shootings. Like we had a run of 7 days straight. That's so abnormal on a global scale. I'll even give you an example. I've been to places where my friends talk about during their country's revolutions and things like that, you had men dying because of political freedom or religious freedom. In the United States, people just kill because they are generally white, middle-aged, and entitled to murder someone. And when you say, what did that guy get killed over? They want to hear an answer like, he was either in the gang or he was fighting against the gang, or he was a religious leader or he was fighting against the religious leader. Not he was just in the mall and happened to be Chinese and a white person decided that they wanted to shoot a Chinese person.
Yeah.
There has never been a point in American history where people are safe when a white American has made the decision to murder you. I want to be very clear about that. No one is safe. There is always the option of murdering the other person. And that's something you don't see in other countries, because even here, they have violence in this country out of this world in some places. I've never been to those places. I don't know what that kind of life looks like. The police drive by my place and they just keep driving.
Yeah, that's something, you're touching on a good point. Like, you could be anywhere in the United States and be the victim of gun violence for doing nothing. You're not in a gang, you're not in a high risk area, you're at a concert in Las Vegas, right? Which is absolutely bizarre. Like, you don't necessarily have that fear, that like domestic terrorist fear in a country like Brazil. At least I never felt like, oh man, I could just get shot up here on Ipanema Beach or something like that.
No. Now here's the thing that could happen on Ipanema Beach. They see you flashing around, your phone. They notice maybe you got a nice watch on. In some places in Rio, on the beach, there is going to be someone. And like you said, I do not condone crime. But not all crime is equal. Crimes of poverty are different from crimes of hatred and racism. I know people that have been robbed in Brazil. I don't know anybody who's ever been hurt. I know plenty of people that were walking around with their phone out. Maybe they got off the bus or the train, not thinking about it. Yeah, I'm on my way home. Do you want me to stop and get some eggs? And there's going to be somebody who looks at like this phone. I have a Samsung Galaxy S Plus 9. It's, I think, $800 US. $800 US is
4 times
what they're going to make in a month.
Yeah.
4 times minimum wage. There's going to be somebody who looks at that phone and says, I know this is wrong, but even if I sell it for half of what it's worth. And to be clear, just in case there's any criminals watching, if you ever try to rob me, you can have it. You can get my Citi wallet with a couple hundred in it, and you can have my phone. The game has been good to me. I don't have to. I can make it back. What you gonna do if somebody walks up on you, Wateef? I'm gonna just hand it over. It was really nice. I went there on a holiday, had a little Airbnb spot, got to see, eat restaurants on the water. It was really nice.
Got one comment here that says that by law, only the military and police are allowed to have guns, right? So there are even gun controls in place. So anybody who has a gun illegally, I guess. So you can't, Ezra, you can't have like a gun for hunting or anything like that? Like, let's just say you were kind of a sport shooter.
Hold on. Greg said if your phone is old, sometimes bad, so give it back.
Like, this ain't worth nothing.
They're like, I'm not running for this. Could you not upgrade, please? Brother Ian Nevis said, sounds like in Brazil, crime is about business, and the States is about anything a whack job hallucinates. Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of it. Now, don't get me wrong, racism is a thing here, but that's a very different issue because you can buy your way out of a couple of different things here. So,
yeah. Let's see if I got some questions here. Some recommendations. Okay, so you could have a gun inside your home. This is from Perfect Timing. You can have a gun inside your home as long as you have a permit. There's a new law that passed. So I guess they're getting a little more liberal. Hopefully it doesn't have the same disastrous effects that it has here. Because it's way too easy to get a gun in the United States. I was telling somebody this the other day. It's like I was living in New York City, so my driver's license was a New York City's driver's license, and you can't buy a gun in New York City. So I went into the Dick's Sporting Goods store and tried to buy a gun. And they're like, oh, no, you live in New York City, so we can't sell you one. I go to the DMV, pay like $18, update my driver's license to another property that I own. 8 days later, I'm back at Dick's. 30 minutes in and out, I have a gun in my hands. I think that's far too simple, and is what also allows for a lot of this gun violence to exist in the United States. So hopefully in Brazil they don't get too loose with the gun control, because then it's just more guns in more people's hands. So not only the criminals, but the crazy and the stupid and the copycats. So, well, I guess we'll see how that goes over the years.
Well, I did a video, because here's my thing about guns, and I say this as someone who is a licensed and a gun owner in the United States. You know, I had a carry permit in the United States, and there was a guy who was an older guy I knew, old gunner, and he said the gun should always be a surprise. He called it the surprise gun theory. What that meant is that anytime you go someplace and you think you need to take your gun, you should just not go there, because it wouldn't be a surprise that you needed it. At the same time, anytime you have to pull your gun out, it should be a surprise, because no one should know you have your gun. No one should know that you have a gun. You shouldn't be talking about it. You shouldn't be glorifying it. You shouldn't be doing any of those things that get people killed. Now, I did a video. I got a call one night from a woman who called me in a panic, and she just said, "What? I need a gun." And I said, "Why do you need a gun?" And the story she gave me was about some guy that came into her house, that she came from home for a party, drunk, laid down on her bed, woke up, there was a man there. Her immediate thought was, "I need a gun." And I tell anybody, listen, generally speaking, a good dog is better than having a gun. I have a decent dog, because you don't need to be sober to operate a dog. You know, I'm fortunate. I don't drink, smoke, or do any drugs, so I can have a gun in my house and feel okay with it. A lot of people just, let's see. Now, Dries says, those that commit gun violence are not permit holders. I absolutely agree with you. Unfortunately, we can always trace a direct line from an illegal gun to a legal purchase. More than happy to have that discussion with you. Everybody, shout out to Dries TV. I hope everybody goes to his channel and subscribes. He's got a lot of different perspectives on things going on around the world. He's an avid global traveler. And if you want to have that discussion on your channel or mine, you're welcome. Door is always open. Door is always open. Let's see. Brother Robert Jackson said, "Is BJJ known by the average person? Or BJJ competition so popular that schools compete against each other?" Schools do compete against each other. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is more popular in the United States than it is in Brazil.
Really?
Yes. And I'll tell you why. In Brazil, they have one sport, and they only allow this one sport to become the sport. If it's not soccer, the government don't want anything to do with it. The advertisers don't want anything to do with it. So you have Brazilians that will go to the United States and be these world-class champions with giant schools and lots of success. Go to Brazil, they can get off the airplane. Nobody knows who they are. So what do you got on your end, question-wise?
No, that's what I'm looking for right now. I'm late getting in. Are we talking about Rio? We're talking about Brazil in general, humble legend. So what we're talking about is the cost of living, and can you maintain a decent lifestyle for $1,000, right? Yeah. We got to this topic because one of Yusef's commenters or a subscriber on his channel was saying that he needed close to $1 million to be able to retire. And we wanted to kind of show the public that you don't need that much money to retire in Brazil, that as a single person, you could get by on $1,000 to $1,500 a month in an expensive city, by expensive city like Sao Paulo. So he was going over his numbers in Sao Paulo. I'm personally, a Rio guy. I'm interested in Rio de Janeiro. I like the weather. I like it hot. I like the coast. But from the perspective of Sao Paulo, his basic cost, food, housing, electricity, phone, $405 a month. So, you can use
what have I forgotten?
On that, I guess, the regular wear and tear probably of housing budget. What about healthcare?
That's a great question. Watch this. Here they have public healthcare, which is better than, here's the thing. People talk about public healthcare in the United States. We really, in the United States, have no idea that we have one of the worst healthcare systems in the world. If you've never left America, you don't know that. not only do they have public healthcare, which I don't use the public healthcare system because if you have any money at all, you can afford to go to a private clinic. I'll give you an example of a clinic. I get I get a checkup once every 6 months. I go in, I get a full checkup as a man once every 6 months, make sure everything is great. Let me give you an example. Let's just click exams. Oh no, not exams. I'm sorry.
And this is a provider that you work with that you're sharing?
Yeah, I don't make any commission off this, but they have so many independent clinics that service people whose income can afford it. I take my clients to these places when they get off when I start with my clients' life in Brazil. One of the first things I said is, when's the last time you had a full checkup? They normally will say, I don't know. And I say, well, here, yeah, this is going to cost you about $50 and we're going to get a full checkup. So let's just say a routine checkup is going to cost you 340 reais. What's the quick math on that?
$80.
So let's say you're an older gentleman. That's the 40 plus add-on. Like if you want to get like the specifics to a guy that's over 40. Yeah, they have sports checkups.
What is it, the checkup for a woman over 40?
440. With women, everything's going to be more expensive, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's always more expensive.
It's called a pink tax. This is alien. This is a nutrition. What your nutrition is like.
A nutritional consult.
Yeah.
Oh, like a blood draw and evaluation of the cholesterol levels.
Yeah, and they give you everything printed out.
And then do you have like a health insurance plan? Because you could buy into private insurance.
Yes, you can buy into private insurance here if you want to go that route. When you're just a single person, it generally works out to just whatever you need, you can just go out of pocket for. Let me give you an example here too. This is a place where you can just get individual exams if you want them. This is Labby, right? Tests, exams, all these things that you could possibly need or want. Now, here's the thing.
They're making bank on coronavirus testing.
Oh, yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Who cares about the diabetes? Right? You need this COVID test for 250 reais. Crazy.
So here you can do, let's see. They have checkups for transgender people. COVID. They have checkups. Hold on, let me give you the whole thing. General checkup. Transgender men, transgender women, women under 45, women over 45, men under 45, women over 45. All those this is lifestyle checkups they have too. Fitness checkups, vegetarian checkups. Meaning, let's just say I want to go back. Let's say I want to go and I'm going to do the checkup for men under 45. Where is it? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Okay, so I'm just going to click on the first checkup for men under 45. Oh, sorry, that's women. Hold on. My mouse finger is not on the game today. Okay, so men.
So $130 a visit.
Okay.
130 reais a visit.
Yeah. Now they have, I'll show you what the exams they give you. HDL cholesterol, LDL, VL cholesterol, cholesterol total, hemoglobin, gamma, transmutal. I forgot what these translate into. These are liver. Potassium, protein check, creatine, urine check, blood panel complete, protein C reactive, triglycerides, salt, sodium. I forgot what this one comes to. I also get my testosterone done, and it just again, that's what I'm gonna pay. That's what I'm gonna pay.
$30.
By the way, this is if you pay in installments, because some people put it on their credit card. This is if I pay cash.
$30.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope. Honestly. And what about medication, right? These are the type of questions that come through on my end. Oh, there we go. What about the cost of medication? Is it expensive if you don't have an insurance plan? Nope. That's the beauty of every place outside the United States. You can walk into the pharmacy with your prescription. Sometimes, I think in Brazil, you only need a prescription for antibiotics and certain drugs.
You need
right?
a prescription for antibiotics and narcotics. Like in the United States, they will hand out narcotics. Like I know a guy that got a broken nose because I trained in fighting and different stuff. He got a broken nose and they gave him Oxy. And of course,
in the States?
Yeah. Now, of course, he had done his research and he just said, I'll just grunt through it. And he just flushed them. In other countries like Brazil, anything that's not a narcotic or
antibiotic,
you can go to most pharmacies and just like, hey, I want some of those. The United States have people convinced that if you let 90% of the medicine go over the counter, people will just be eating aspirin until they die. And they'll take medicine they don't even know they don't. People aren't stupid. They go to their doctor most of the time. And if it's a recurring something that they have over and over again, they don't have to go back over and over and over again for a prescription. So let's just say you've got, I don't know, an injury that's not going to heal for 6 months. In the United States, they'll just say, come back every month, pay for another checkup, pay for another prescription. Here, they'll just be like, here's what you need for your leg to heal and the antibiotic for the cut, and talk to me next time you're hurt. Because doctors still make money. Don't get me wrong. Doctors make money. It's just in the United States, the healthcare system is such a bloated, fetid cesspool of taking advantage of people. For those who don't
listen. I make my money in healthcare.
Okay. Well, then listen, prepare to be mad.
Yeah. But it's the reality. It's the reality of it.
I worked as a financial professional for many years. Some of you know that. I retired at 37. One of the things that I dealt with heavily was insurance, life insurance, and disability insurance, and I dealt heavily in mutual funds. One of the things you really get to see is you can have a family, let's just say mom, dad, and 2 kids who live a good life. They save 15% of their income. They don't live excessively. And mom falls off a ladder while she was putting up a happy Christmas sign in the driveway. Now she's got a permanent injury. Their family goes bankrupt. And it's over. Their children won't go to college. Dad's going to have to take a second job, or they're going to have to go live in a trailer to be so destitute that America will give them any health care.
Right.
So, I mean, I had a question earlier, and I did not want to skip this question. He said, what is a high month for me? A high month for me, I had some of my cousins that came into town. We were going to all the different music spots. We were just out, just getting crazy. I can say that month, I probably spent an extra $500 US that month. And I mean, we were out of control.
How much do you think you spend on an average month?
Well, remember, I am already established. Now, for somebody living here, your first few months while you're still figuring out what to do, it's going to be more expensive. For me, on an average month, well, let's look at my hobbies. My hobbies includes lifting heavy weights, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, doing YouTube, going out with my friends. I can't see myself spending more than, I mean, you guys are going to laugh, but if I spend more than $300 or $400 US a month,
as that above, like that's your discretionary spending.
Yeah, like if I spent $300 US a month, that would be, yeah.
What would your Brazilian friends say about that spend as discretionary spending? Would they be satisfied with having an extra $300 to toss around?
Well, here's the thing, and this is
how would they consider that? Like, how does that fit?
As a foreigner, I don't discuss prices and income with my Brazilian friends. I understand that their pay scale is vastly different. You or I will be earning money coming from the United States. They're earning money on this income. So, I have friends that make 2,000 real a month, and that's a decent income. I have friends that make 3,000 real a month, and they're some of the higher earners in their family. Also, and this is a conversation we can have at another time, there is no middle class here. That means, see salaries. Go ahead.
I asked an agent that I'm working with on the Cabo Frio deal, how much right before this thing is, how much would you expect a middle class lifestyle to cost, and how much is your lifestyle? And she said middle class looking at about 6,000 to 10,000 reais for the comparable like U.S. experience, right? Of what somebody in the middle class would expect, and that would be a home, car, private insurance, family of 4 to 5 people, privately schooled kids, etc. And that is about $1,000 to $2,000.
But now
Right?
here's the problem.
Is what she considered to be like the version of middle class that Americans are associated
But
with.
she's not saying many people are leaving that, right?
No. I don't think she is.
Okay, because I was about to say that's not the Brazilian experience.
No,
You know?
like no. That's like the comparison. How much would it cost to live what an American would think middle class life is like in Brazil? So if you wanted to live the same middle class life that you had in the United States,
you would have to work really hard to spend that money, though. It would be an effort to spend that money. For a guy like me with no kids,
as a single. She was talking about a family of 4.
Okay, a family of 4, yeah, you can give your kids a good living on that. But I'm thinking like for an independent person, I would have to do stupid things to spend that kind of money.
So how would the locals spend their money then? Like if you were saying like some of your friends, you don't talk about it, but if they're earning 3,000, 4,000 reais a month, they're doing above the average, right? How frequently would they go out? What would they choose to spend their money on? Like,
well, they're still going to go out. They're going to go out just like everybody else. So let's say twice a week they meet their buddies after work for coffee. Where we're going for coffee, where you and I will sit on the corner for coffee, the coffee is going to cost us like, I don't know, $5 would be overspending. Like if we bought coffee and a little cookie to go with it in a high-end place, it would cost us $5 and we're gonna sit and sip on that coffee. Let's say he wants to take his grandma out to see that new Disney movie. That's gonna cost him another 90 real. He buys Granny one of those big popcorn she likes and some diet soda. That's another 90 off rip.
That's like a day's pay burnt right there.
Burned. Now, heaven forbid you got kids. I got friends that got kids. They will take these kids to the movies. So now they're paying for everybody to get a movie ticket. That's 40 real each, right? So you taking your wife, you got your 2 kids. Cool. Kids want some popcorn. They don't want to split one big popcorn together because they're going to fight over it. Now you got to buy 2 different popcorns. You're spending another 60 or 70 right there. And they're going to want, one is going to want the Iron Man popcorn plastic thing that he's going to use exactly once. The other kid, well, she's going to want the Black Widow one. She's going to use that exactly. You dropping 500. And heaven forbid, when you leave that theater, your wife says, you know what, honey? I'm a little hungry.
I don't really like popcorn.
I don't want to eat popcorn. I want to keep my figure. Can we go and get something to eat? Okay. So you can easily, a dude with 2 kids and a woman going out on a basic Friday movies and dinner, this dude is dropping 500 or 600.
500 or 600 reais, which is a lot, right? That would be a lot. That's not something that you would be doing 3 nights a week.
No.
Right? But somebody who goes out as a single to Brazil earning 1,500 US a month, they'll be like, this is light because I'm paying $405 to live. I got an extra $1,000 and I could go out 3 nights a week and really have a good time and not really be putting myself through any sort of financial squeeze.
I'm going to give you something. I'm going to show you guys something. What is the name? I'm going to show you a restaurant that I go to. Sometimes I'll take my clients there if we're going to just have a dinner or a lunch. For you or I, let's call it a upper middle class-ish place. I'm trying to think of something, in the United States that's comparable to. I'm going to pull up a, let's see.
Like a Ruth Chris or something?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So let's call that Ruth Chris. Where is it? Now, when my buddies and I go out, and we're going out, it's Friday night, we want to sit around and have some crazy pasta with salmon in it and blah, blah, blah. I'm rocking tank top, jeans and my white shell-toed Adidas because that's how I get down. But we went to this restaurant after just looking at the prices. Bruh, Cocoa Bamboo, you're not taking a woman there unless she has already birthed you 2 strong sons. That kind of price. Like,
nice spot. And what is this running?
I'm looking for any of the for any of their cardápio, like any of their menu prices, just to give you a, like, when people go there, you know, when you tell your mom you taking her to Cocoa Bamboo, she's thinking you're trying to get her up in that life insurance policy. Because you see how they dress just going there. We rock up in white shell-toed Adidas, and people look at us, and sometimes they just get angry. Like, they just get so bitter when they look at us, and they're like, to us, this is Tuesday.
Yeah, that could happen. It's not fancy, you know, and it's not a place that, because of the price point for you, you would automatically say, oh man, should I adjust the way that I look to be here and that sort of thing. I got a few comments here. One is a question regarding internet, the speed, the cost, just a quick number. What are you getting for your money internet wise?
Hold on. I'm trying to find something with a price on it. They're not advertising their.
What's the name of that spot? Maybe Cocoa, if I just go Cocoa what?
COCOBAMBU.
BAMBU.
So they got their happy hour from 5 to 8 p.m. A big beer is $8, like the big frozen glass. I don't even drink alcohol, and I see that's how they roll.
$8 or 8 reais?
Yeah, which is how much in dollars?
$1.50.
And that's their giant fancy place.
Yeah, exactly. Like that. You know what's a good way of looking at it? That price is what I would pay for in a currency that's worth a fifth of ours. So instead of paying $8 for, you know, your IPA that you're going to be sipping on, you're paying $1.50 at a nicer establishment.
So let's see if I can bring this larger. No, I can't. I'm going to try and give you guys a menu to show you the prices, because I really want to.
Another gentleman here on my feed, he was like, what about the Brazilian steakhouses that you could get all you could eat, including a dessert and soft drink, for $10 a person? And you were touching on that earlier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the meat you could eat, sides, $10, and you're living good. And that $10 US. And I go to this Brazilian spot, Chima in Fort Lauderdale. It cost me maybe $50 a person for the same. Right? And that's not including my cocktails. That's just the base, $50, not including my mandatory tip. And you're getting that for $10 or $50.
Here we go. Here we go. These are the shrimp dishes. Okay, so you can get an international shrimp dish that feeds 2 people for 128 reais. What is that in dollars?
And like $40.
So here, I've had this one, the Carne do Sol Sertão, for 2 people, and I mean big portion, right? That's 84.
$20
at this restaurant, just to show you
dinner for 2.
Dinner for
if you bang it out to 4 people, it's a 124.
Right.
It's crazy. It's totally crazy. And it's huh?
I said somebody needs to stop me.
No, it's crazy because I try to explain this to my subscriber base, to everybody I talk to. When I tell them, hey, this is why I'm leaving the United States, I do very well here. But when I see how much I could get from my money somewhere else, I feel like an idiot spending it here. I really feel like the fool of the week. Like, okay, why am I paying this much for rent? Why am I, I had a glass of wine at lunch. It was $14.
Dude, for $14, you would get so wasted you couldn't even go back to work afterwards. Like somebody in your office would have to come to you and say, "Look, man, why don't you just go home?"
$14 for I had 2 glasses of wine at lunch. I paid $14 for each. I got a plate of pasta. I wish I had the receipt around here. So me, my lady, 2 glasses of wine, her lunch, my lunch, which were 2 plates of pasta and some calamari. That probably tipping to about $90.
For $90, you would be feeding me, you, your kids, any of my friends that came over, and laughing all the way home.
Yeah, $90.
I want to address something with mental health medication. I don't know. I'm not qualified to answer that question. If you want to email me privately, we can discuss it. I'm not qualified to answer that now. Craig said, look at this. This is why places like McDonald's are considered luxury meals to be enjoyed once in a while. That is something interesting here. You know, when I remember walking by McDonald's and I looked at the price and I was like,
what the hell? I'm not paying for that.
And like the McDonald's is like 32 a person for a sandwich, a drink, and I'm like, I'm glad I don't eat junk food.
So I have one person saying this is perfect timing. What about an apartment with an ocean view, 2 bedrooms, 50 meters from the sand, very close to shops in a medium-sized city for $50,000 US?
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like you need to contact me and become one of my clients. Catch me, Yusef Wateef at gmail.com. I do expat relocation services. Like, that's how I get down. So for those of you who don't know, I will, let me see.
Absolutely. And I'm seeing questions about applying for your CPF, or at least mentioning it. Perfect timing seems like he's well informed on the transition to Brazil. But these are the questions that people have. You know, like another person was asking, should I get an Airbnb to start? Right. And I was like, yeah, absolutely, because that at least gets you there. You're able to figure things out. You're not thinking about furnishing. You know, it's going to cost you $600 or $700 for the month, but it lets you get a feel for the neighborhood. So you know whether or not you want to be there. You can start shopping for prices. You can meet a Brazilian friend that will help you negotiate, so you're not doing it by yourself and getting the gringo price.
So this is for the people who don't know. All those questions you had, like, that's what I've been doing for the past almost 3 years here. And
you know, since you're there, since you're familiar, I think that's another bonus that you have. You've been there for a few years.
I've been here 6 years.
You're familiar with how Americans think, feel, process information, and you're bridging that gap between, you know, the known and the unknown and this mysterious place. Because for a lot of Americans, Brazil is exotic. Brazil is very different. Brazil is unfamiliar, unsafe, that sort of thing. So you're able to give it to them from an American's perspective that's been there for a while. So I think you definitely add value in that regards.
Let's do it like this. He said, Brother Brent Allen said, this is a different topic. What do you think about doing a series of videos on dating in Brazil? You did one. What do you think about a series of interviews with Brazilian ladies? So to give people some context, I'm going to show everybody the video that he's talking about is, I'm trying to get that up on the screen for you guys. I did a Q&A called Dating Brazilian Women. And I answered a couple of the most commonly answered questions, but I answered them in a way that made a lot of people kind of mad, which is normal for me. I don't care. People can be upset if you need to. I'm here every day. I'll be here tomorrow. I'll tell you why I don't really feel the need to do a show on like just interviews with women, you know, and I say this from the perspective of someone who's found out since I first started traveling the world as a very young man. The women in Brazil are no different from the women in Japan where I just left. They're no different from the women in America where I just left. They're no different from the women in any of the other 15 countries I've lived in. If you are one of those men who has your shit together, I'm not telling you have to be rich, but if you're one of those men who's saved 10% of his money his whole life, so you walk differently, not that you have to flash money. If you're one of those men who goes to the gym every other day to do anything, boxing, jujitsu, something physical, you look different. You carry yourself stronger than the majority of other men. If you're one of those men that reads a nonfiction book once a month to expand your knowledge so that you can talk about things in a way that the average man can't, you're not going to have any problem with women here or there. What I find a lot of men do, and stay with me, people, a lot of people are just lazy. A lot of men believe that there is this magic place that if they can just find it, they can get a ticket there, and their blue passport is going to mean all the beautiful young women that you would want to have as a girlfriend. Stop me now. I don't just mean a fuck buddy or a facanche, as they say here, but the kind of woman you'd actually want to be with. She's not going to be with you for your passport, player. You got to be the man that she looks at and says, I want to open my heart and legs for that man because of the man that he is. If you're not one of those men, go to Brazil for the food. Go to Brazil for jiu-jitsu. Go to Brazil for the sun and the beach. Don't go thinking you're going to find this special woman who's a quality woman that you don't have to actually be a quality man to get. It doesn't work anywhere. But I've seen a lot of guys get left standing with their underwear and nothing else, thinking that she's young and beautiful, and I know I don't really have anything going for myself, and she wants me. Nobody tells you those stories. Nobody tells you about the famous YouTubers that call Wateef at 3 o'clock in the morning saying, why? I don't know what to do. I just woke up. What do you mean you just woke up? Well, I met these girls at a party. Stop me. This is a true story. I met these girls a couple days ago at this big outdoor party. Okay. What happened? I brought it to my house. Would you have done that at home? No. He woke up 2 days later. They robbed him. They robbed him so cold. They robbed him.
He woke up 2 days later.
They robbed him so cold. They took his stuff and took it in his luggage. Now, a lot of people out there, especially the weak-willed men, the lip dick men, are going to say, well, that's just Brazil, and those are bad women. No, people get robbed in L.A., Tokyo, London. Cardi B wrote songs. Cardi B wrote gold-selling and platinum-selling albums about when she used to rob people.
About the same.
You're in. But if you're one of those soft men, you're going to tell yourself, that's different. I know if I just find a place where the women are going to, no, they're not.
So, but more on the dating thing, I think this is
kind of me. Thank you. Jay Davis.
I think it's true. You know, what you're speaking in a very factual way, and people, how could I put this? Brazilian women are over-sexualized in Brazil and in American culture, right? And Americans are kind of sold this story that as an American man, you could have it whatever woman you want, especially if they're in a country that is restricting, you know, that the U.S. is restricting visas and that sort of thing. So they kind of go in with this myth. But what about the women who are relocating to Brazil? And what are their experiences like with dating and potentially finding partners in love? And how does that change? This is a question that my cousin asked me because I told her about relocating to Brazil.
Let me give a quick shout out to James Dudley, because it's not a whole lot of people who even know about that restaurant. I hope whoever you took there was worth it, player, because that's a very nice place. I hope it was somebody who earned that dinner. It's a nice place, a very nice place. Now, are we going to the question, for example, what Olivia T said?
No, it's not that. It's actually a question that my cousin asked me, right? She was like, what is dating like in Brazil for a woman like me? And I was like,
what is she like her?
Huh? Well, she's like a middle-aged, attractive American girl.
Well, I mean, if we're going to have that discussion, first let me say to Olivia T on safety in Brazil. Olivia, I would give you the same advice for Brazil that I would if you were living in New York City or London where I've lived, or Tokyo where I've lived, or downtown Shanghai, China where I've lived. As a woman, you will always have to take extra and special precautions no matter where you live. That means I would tell you, I don't want you going to the ATM after sunset. I want you to get your money out of the ATM either in the mornings or during the week if you need cash. That's going to mean you meet a guy online. No, you don't go to his house. What I want you to do is say, hey, there are some really cool restaurants downtown. Let's go down there and have coffee together. That would mean, as a woman, I don't want you leaving the subway at night walking home. I want you to call your Uber from inside the subway, walk out and get into your Uber and go home. Small things like that, but it's not going to be any different for São Paulo than it is for any large city in the world.
Now, what about what would her dating life be like?
All day, quality. Her dating life will be dictated in Brazil by the same factors that will be dictated in whatever country your cousin was born in. A woman under 30 with no children and a flat stomach will have far more dating propositions than a woman over 30. There is an unfortunate reality that of all the unfair things in the world, a woman has to make better choices about the man that she's going to open her heart and her legs for earlier. That means that I believe that women mature faster. I believe that up until the age of 30, a 25-year-old woman is socially more mature than a man is. Until a man hits 30, he might equal a woman at 25. That's because she has to make that decision. She has to find out what the best options for her, if she chooses to be with a man, what those options are. Because when you're dealing with quality men, we're the men that have all the choices in the world, and men who have choices tend to choose women who are under 30 with a flat stomach and no children.
Under 30, flat stomach, no children. She's got the no stomach and and no children, flat stomach, no children. But she's over 40, and she doesn't look it. She actually looks fantastic. But that was a question that she had.
With respect to your cousin, though, let's open up. With respect to your cousin, it's not how old she looks. It's that when men look at the woman that I'm going to open myself to, not just emotionally, but financially, I want a woman that can grow with me. I want a woman who hasn't been through as many. I'll give you an example. Scars look good on men. Coming through a hard life makes men better men. It makes us more respected by other men. It makes women more attracted to us. It's not the same with women.
Gotcha. So, but now at the same time, let's just say, what kind of man would target like a higher net worth Brazilian woman? Like, what would be like the match that would work for her, right? Like, who would fit, and who would there be any like social taboo of marrying?
No, listen, there's not going to be a social taboo as long as she's comfortable with knowing that, again, when a woman is past 30, they're generally going to have other tools to make up for that. Because the unfortunate reality is that if the man that she's going to be with is a man that had lots of choices, he may choose her, but it's not going to be because she brings him the youth and virility that the average heterosexual man wants with a woman that he's going to start his life with or open himself emotionally or financially to. But if she's got money, money is a great equalizer, So there's nothing wrong with that. I just find that men do lots of things to attract women, and we don't feel any guilt or shame about saying this woman is attracted to me because I am famous, or because I have muscles, or because I have money, or because I'm well known. Women tend to, in my opinion, if there are any women who want to disagree, that's fine. I don't think women feel good knowing that men are attracted to them for the reasons other than they are beautiful.
Yeah, that would pretty much suck. Guys, I think guys are more, you're right. Guys are more willing to accept, hey man, she might like me because of these qualities that I have that are not necessarily physical. And they just eat that. They understand, even to the point where they'll work on those things because that's what gives them the competitive advantage.
Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example, right? A lot of people don't know this because I don't think you see me in the perspective. When you see me on YouTube, I think it's a little different. People don't seem to understand. I'm 5 feet 6 inches tall, right? I am a short man. Let me be clear about it.
5'6",
6 inches tall. What?
You only 5'6"?
But do you know why you have a hard time believing that I'm 5 feet 6? The reason you're having a hard time believing that I'm only 5 feet 6 inches tall is because I do things to make up for it in other places. For example, when I was a young man, there was someone who looked at me and said, listen, you were born a short kid who used to get beat up because I was a nerd. I wet the bed until I was like 14. He said, you have nothing to do but learn. I tell people all the time, my success with money, women, and life didn't come to me. I chose it. The game didn't choose me. So as a man, I decided I'm going to look at my deficiencies and make up for them. So what's the first thing a man can, what's the 2 ways that men generally overcoming having any other shortcomings in life?
Money and physicality.
So what did I figure out early in life? There are 2 things that I'm going to do that make sure young, beautiful women consistently look at me and say, that guy.
Hit these weights and get some money.
That guy. I decided If I don't have it in other areas, I'm gonna go lift these heavy ass weights, right? Get good at business, and then run from there, and let that be my power base.
Let's see. I'm gonna see if I got any more questions coming through on my end, because I'm starting to get the "you need to come home" messages.
I don't even know what that means.
Oh man, because you ain't married. Yeah, no, my lady is telling me, she's texting me, telling me the kid's not asleep yet, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm gonna be checking out in a little bit. Yeah, no, I got no other questions over here, man.
So there is a man watching this right now who's saying, I can't be like Wateef and Carl, having, beautiful women and a life that I want, and travel the world and make money. Look, I was 5 feet 6 inches tall, wet the bed, and got beat up because I'm a nerd. I decided to win. If I can do it, really?
That's a good point, man. And I think that kind of helps us get to what even started this conversation, was the person that kind of set his goals in this, put it on a pedestal that he felt that he couldn't reach. In reality, you are in control of what you do with your life, to whatever extent nature and society doesn't impact you. Okay, if you want a nicer body, you got to work for it. You want more money, you got to work for it. You want to retire young, you got to work for it. These are all things that you can take control over and say, hey, you know what, you tired of that 9-to-5 job? Yeah, okay, so then work 16 hours a day, speed up the process, because you're still going to spend 16 hours alive, right? Spend that other 8 hours figuring out how you're going to eliminate your job, how you're going to replace that job, so that you can pick up and live in Brazil for $1,000 a month. If that's what you do.
I want you to do this. I want you to read this question. Sure. Tell them how we met while I go pee.
Sure. Would language be something you would study before you go, or is it adaptable there, like decent English in some places? Olivia, you go to Brazil, you're not going to learn. You better learn Portuguese before you go. You're not going to find that many English speakers. You're going to find them. There's going to be the people who took English seriously in school up until they graduated from high school. They loved the culture. They learned, and they're going to be able to respond. There's going to be the college-educated people, and maybe some of the upper-class folks that were groomed to learn English because it is the language of trade. But when I went to Brazil the first time, I didn't speak a lick of Portuguese. And I thought, okay, I have a background in French. I got this basic, American gringo Spanish. I was like, I'll be fine in Brazil. I'll be able to read things and catch things in conversation. Wrong. I was completely off base because my Spanish wasn't good enough to pick up certain things. And it's far enough from French that it's not quite obvious. Some words close, but a lot of words definitely not. Some pronunciation close, but I know squat. So one of my buddies turned around and he was like, I've been learning Spanish on this app named Pimsleur. And I was like, I know I want to come back to Brazil. I really love this place, but I need to be able to speak the language because I need to talk to people. That's important for me, is to get to know people, talk to them about religion, politics, race, all the things that make humans. I need to be able to talk about those things. And he was like, you might want to check out Pimsleur, man. I've been learning Spanish on it. I think it's an app that could work. I never used Duolingo. I mean, I used Duolingo. I never liked it. Rosetta Stone, I started, didn't like it. And those are the only two apps or computer-based learnings that I tried to even learn Spanish. So I was like, I'm going to give this Pimsleur thing a shot. Pimsleur works like this: 30-minute lessons daily. You listen to it and you repeat, and it's conversation driven. It's conversation based. So in 3 months time, I got to conversational Portuguese, and I was, even before 3 months, at like a month and a half, I felt like I was progressing so well that I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a video on YouTube about Pimsleur. and I was covered Pimsleur for Portuguese. And that video still does maybe like 80 views a day or something like that from the time that I released it. And I was reviewing Pimsleur, just an honest review of how it's worked for me and how I love it. And Yusef came across that video and had some questions about Pimsleur and should he use it because he wants to tighten up his Portuguese and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I totally vouch for it. And that's exactly how we met. Just trying to improve our Portuguese or sharing content on the internet. And it's as simple as that. The effort that you put into your life is going to, connect you with new people, change your circumstances, give you way more knowledge and information. So all you need to do is take some action towards the thing that you want. And if you don't quit, you'll eventually get there or get pretty damn close. You'll get at least further away from the version of you that you don't want to be. And, this goes with retirement. This goes with business. This goes with life. This goes with girls. Just become the man that you want to be, or become the woman that you want to be. Only you can do that. Nobody's going to do that for you externally. Nobody's going to hold your hand through the hard work, the things that, people aren't seeing.
And that's the video that I did, hustling Portuguese backwards in Brazil.
Dope. But I'm going to be signing out, Yusef, man. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, come on. You tapping out on me, man?
Yeah, man. I'm in for 2 hours. It's an hour and 56 minutes. And I did a podcast right before this.
Excuses.
Nah, man. I've been talking for 3 hours straight. I need to get the hell out of here. I got to fly up to New York. Got a business deal that I need to review up there. Checking out an agency that I'm
This
trying
is what I want you to do. You ready?
Sure.
I want you, check this out. Click stop camera, mute. Leave it going so I can stay on your channel and I'll text you when I'm done and you can come back and turn it off.
Sounds good, man. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me here at ENTP Live. Yusef's taking over from here. Shoot me a message. You have any questions? That's going to be the hard part. Periodically tell them that if they have questions to kind of come on over to your feed, because their questions aren't going to pop up. They're going to only be hopping up on my feed, and it's going to seem like they're being ignored. So periodically just let them know if you have any questions, shoot those questions over directly to Yusef and from his feed, and then he'll be able to see it and respond to you accordingly. Thank you, guys.
Make sure you hit that mute button too, because I don't want to hear anything in the background. There we go. All right. Well, listen, I understand he had to tap out after 2 hours. Listen, that man's got a family. I don't. I'm just living out here wild. It's just living reckless, so I can stay hanging out. So you said, what's it like living in Brazil during carnival season? Ooh, Brazil during carnival season is nuts. It is absolutely nuts. You can forget about getting any kind of work done, because even if you wanted to do some work, it's not like you can go anywhere or do anything because streets are jammed up. There are carnival parties on blocks. There are some people who just don't want that whole I want to be at a party thing. You just got to stay in the house. The bad part about it is there are a lot of businesses that close because, when you have parties going up and down blocks, you can't have your family's supermarket and the door just open, people coming in, half drunk, partying, blowing horns, glitter. I hate glitter, if anybody didn't know. In Carnival, they are just awash in glitter. It's just a nightmare. You will never get all that glitter off your person. On the other hand, I will always say, listen, Carnival is one of those magical times of year where you can really, really see some things in this country and the people in this country in a way that it's hard to describe. It's hard to describe that magical feeling of Carnival. I've been to Carnival in, let me think. I've been to Carnival in São Paulo, Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I've been to Carnival in Salvador de Bahia. It's wild. Hold on. So I would say it's definitely one of those things. By the way, anyone here who is watching on Carl's feed, he wanted me to make sure I reminded you that he had to step away. However, any questions, anything you want to talk about, if you're watching on Carl's feed, come here. Carl said open here. There. And open on this one so that you guys can come to where we are now with any questions, because Carl had to step away for a minute. Let's see, where are we? We got, let's see. I'm not going to debate your other points, but I do think Brazil is the best place for a foreign woman to date seriously. You know, Helen, you can catch me, Yusef Wateef at gmail.com if you want to come on and we can have you know my channel. We don't have any wild drag out conversations, but I'd love to have you on if you want to talk about that. Is veganism big in Brazil? I know they're known for steakhouses and seafood. I don't mean beans and rice. You're asking the wrong person. Do I know some vegetarians? Yes, but I'm not trying to get in their business like that. I don't want to think I'm interested. I don't want to think, hey, I'm trying to recruit Wateef. Do I have meals that sometimes don't include meat? Yes. Am I in any way looking at I don't even know. I don't even know. I can't even, nah. So let's see. Ian said I might enjoy a relationship with an older educated Brazilian lady. Is a U.S. education a valuable asset dating wise? I'm going to go ahead and say no. I'm going to say women in the world over prefer an educated man no matter what your native education is. Not that the education is what she wants from you, but an educated man represents better prospects for her down the road, your ability to provide for yourself. It also, if you're educated, you may be better at learning things, meaning learning how to be wherever you are learning a new country. But as far as having just a U.S. education, I don't think that's the magic bullet. There is no magic bullet. Let's see. Try. Do I fish? No. But Craig does. What's the best gym chain in Brazil? Look, I don't know. My gym is just a simple gym down the road on the corner where they have a bunch of weights, and that's just it. That's just my gym. They have gym chains everywhere here. Gyms, gym culture. In Brazil, the phrase is fisiocultura, meaning the physical therapy, the physical, how would I put it? The culture of living physically is a very big thing here. But as far as the best chain, there is no way, there's absolutely no way that I could answer that question for you because yeah, there's just no, there isn't. So just to give you like a side view of my gym, I'll show you guys. There. This is my gym. It's the basic gym. You can look in the background. It's not even, I think it might be part of a chain, but I'm not quite sure. I think it's just the only one. It's dirt simple. I think I paid 600 or 700 reais for an entire year. So that was that. Corinthians or Palmeiras? I don't know. I don't watch soccer. I train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I don't even like soccer. It's not even, yeah, not everybody likes Carnival. You know, I like it. I don't like it every day during Carnival, but I do go in and get my dose of Carnival. Let's see. Peacock bass. Oh my goodness. And again, if you're watching on Carl's channel, he said to open it here. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe on his channel and mine because Carl had to step away so that he could still continue to broadcast this on his channel. He left the window open for us. We got a couple of new comments. What are good Brazilian dishes? I've never eaten Brazilian food. There are countless. I'm going to give you one. A great Brazilian dish that, let's see, I always say, let's see, vaca atolada. And we had lunch with some of the Black expats in Brazil group. I'm going to go ahead and share this cauldron of good food. It's a beef dish. There we go. And that is probably one of my favorite things in Brazil to eat. Yes, it's very heavy. No, you don't want to have that on lunch and then have to go out and deal with clients and people afterwards. And there's the link to it if anybody wants to check that dish out. And you said how much for a gym membership? I think I paid $100 US for a gym membership here, a 1-year gym membership. I think I paid $100 US up front, and that was it. Game over. And my gym, to be clear, my gym isn't the kind of state-of-the-art gym with, astronaut level detection. It's got quality weights, some quality machines, some quality treadmills, and you come in there and you do what you need to do. They have a lot of coaches there if you need a coach. You see, one thing I always tell people that's interesting about Brazil is about 40% of the people in the gym are women. And in the United States, I'll be 44 soon. I'm the oldest person in the gym in the United States. Here, there are men with all white hair that I'm watching just do chin-ups, just bang, bang, hitting the bench press. Because here, looking good is a thing. I always enjoy talking about Brazilians love being vain. Given the emphasis on a good physique in Brazil, would gyms be good investments for surplus income? I would say no. I would say if you are a Brazilian company, maybe. But if you're looking for a good rate of return on US dollars, no. The competition is so fierce. Because it's such a saturated market, because every corner has one. Let me think, if I was to walk in 4 blocks away from my house in either direction, I can say there's kickboxing gym, jiu-jitsu gym, 3 weightlifting gyms, and that's not counting what's in walking distance. That's just within 4 blocks of my house. I pass a gym on my way to the gym. And so, yeah, $100 yearly. So what I'm going to do then, it seems like the questions are slowing down. I want to tell everybody thank you. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate you. I always, always, always make sure to tell everybody, you guys are a great audience to have. I'm glad that I'm able to share so much with you. The thing that you can always do, not just for me, but for Carl's channel as well, everyone make sure you like, share, and subscribe. That's critically important. Like that's critically important for us to be able to continue. Hitting the subscribe button is what allows us to float so much quality information to you. On my channel, I talk about 3 things. I talk about world travel, not just my life here in Brazil. I like to talk about money, which is my favorite subject because I love money. And I also like to talk about social issues. And you guys know I've been big on some of my social issues. I will also give you my Patreon. We talk money and business on my Patreon. For anyone who isn't part of my Patreon, that's a private community. I tell people it is not nearly as much fun as we have on YouTube. That's because it's not there for fun. It's there because we're talking about business and money. This is the Patreon. I encourage everyone to, at the very least, take a look at it, find out whether or not any of the things that we offer are for you guys. And I appreciate you take a look at it. The last thing I'll also give you is, I think one of the first things I opened up with. I tell everybody to add me on LinkedIn. I tell everyone to add me on LinkedIn for 2 reasons. One, let's see, add me for business and relocating to Brazil. I tell everyone this, there we are. My LinkedIn has 2 great things on it. One is only slightly more great than the other one. One great thing is it talks a little bit more about my expat relocation services business. It talks a lot about what I do for people, the documents that I help people get arranged to be able to live here legally. The most important thing I tell people is down here at the bottom. Down here at the bottom is where you have other business professionals who can testify to who I am, what I've done, and that I am who I say I am. And that makes me feel good. That makes me feel really good. So on that note, I want to say first, let me do this. Make sure you guys, if you haven't, go to ENTP Life. Make sure you subscribe there. Okay. If you haven't, go to youtube.com/Yusef Wateef and make sure you subscribe there. This has been a whole lot of fun. He and I we've had so many great conversations offline that we're not going to have any short of content to give you guys online. So with that, I hope everyone is safe, stay healthy. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Let's see. Oh, hey, Mr. West, thank you. When I make that move, I'm using your services, and thank you for the content. That makes me feel good. All right. Hope everybody has a great day. Bye-bye, everybody.